Hey everybody, welcome to Superhero Speak. I'm your host Dave.
And John.
And I crept in as the theme song was playing. I'm JD. I'm
Very
back.
stealthy of you.
Yeah, that's what I do.
So the rumors of your demise were greatly exaggerated.
No, just my dad demised. I'm still around for now.
I am very sorry, man.
It's okay. I appreciate that. It's been almost 3 weeks. It's been tougher than I thought it was gonna be, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, I can see that.
So, got some doing a lot of thinking, got some stuff I'm working through, got some prioritizing of life things I have to go through. So, that's life.
Indeed it is.
All right. House. Thanks for bringing the house down already. House.
What I do? I ruin everything.
Hey, that is not true. How are you doing, John? What's new in your world since last week?
Oh, you think this is the bottom? Well,
Oh God.
Wait until we talk about AI in our main topic.
Wow.
That's gonna.
Oh, wait till we talk about it.
You want to press? I mean, we should give out like free Xanax to everybody who who listens to this tonight.
You guys are gonna hate me.
Yeah. What?
You guys are gonna hate me. Continue.
I know why I'm going to hate you. I saw your post on Facebook.
Very interesting. Okay. So yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't even know where that comes from, but continue.
Your new book, the cover.
Yeah. No, I paid for that.
Oh, okay.
Might not keep it,
Well,
but I paid for it.
But this really is going to be a good discussion. So Dave, I'm doing fine. Just fine.
Just fine.
Yeah. I mean, I mentioned last week that I was going to watch that new movie. Was it Damsel on Netflix?
I wasn't.
And I mean, so many people are hating that. I found it just perfectly fine. It was a nice, easy watch.
Life is a 8-bit race. By the way, hey Ray, it's been a while. 8-bit races. I'm here for the AI porn talk.
And life is
There's
for
the
the
thing.
birds.
Life is for the birds. My dad used to say life is a 4-letter word, and he's not wrong.
Somebody once said life is but a dream, but okay.
Shadoom.
Yep. JD, you always, man. I am just amazed that you get.
I have
this.
this. I have the sense of humor of a 70-year-old man. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
You get my references, okay? But yeah, no, everything's just fine. So if you want a nice, easy watch, it's got Millie Bobby Brown in it. She's great, and if you don't think about it too hard, it's just a nice afternoon popcorn movie, and it's on Netflix. I have no idea why people hate it so much. So
I have not seen it at all, so maybe I will watch it and
yeah,
we'll figure it out.
Other than that, I got nothing. I will. Let's see. Yeah. So the next week, I will be transmitting from Connecticut. So I'll be sitting down on the floor. You'll see the background of the room that I normally stay in at my sister's house. I'll bring my equipment, but yeah, next week I shall be on the road.
Oh no! Wait, next week isn't Easter. That's the week before.
The week after is Easter. Yes.
Oh, okay.
And we'll have to talk about where I'm going to be transmitting from then if we're not going to do it on Easter, which I doubt we will. So other than that, I mean, just finishing off this season's anime, and they got episode 11 of usually what are 12 episodes of quite a few that I've watched, and nothing special, but nothing too bad either. And otherwise, life is just fine. I got nothing to say now. Later on, a lot.
Oh, okay.
But not now.
All right. Well, JD, how have you been getting along these last 3 weeks?
Up and down. I froze.
Your video froze. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, that's freaking me out. I don't know why I'm freezing. I'm trying to talk through it. That tripped me out a little bit. Up and down. Like some sometimes I find that it's weird because like I knew this was coming for a long time. My dad got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer a little over a year ago. So like I kind of braced myself
Yeah.
for this. And then like, I don't know, I guess I just got used to it where, I maybe living in denial a little bit. Maybe it's the fact that we had a good relationship, but but there was a lot of stuff, so this has been tricky. And sometimes I just find that I'm sad. And sometimes I find that I get upset about other things that don't matter, right? Like things that are
Yeah.
not important, or like I'll hyper focus on something totally unrelated. And I was talking to I'm in therapy right now, and my therapist is like, you're just you're like deferring. Like you're not really you want to deal with it, but you might not be as ready as you think you are to deal with it. So, and he's probably not wrong. So like I'm just kind of going through some stuff. I haven't done anything. I read one book and it was pretty solid. The Pram is a short story by Joe Hill. I recommend it. Other than that, like I haven't done much. I'm going back to normal right now. Trying. I'm gonna do a Kickstarter. Hey, Kassan says, welcome back, fellas. Hello, fellas. Welcome back, JD. Thanks, Kassan. Appreciate it. I decided I got to get back in the game and focus on what's important to me, and that is writing. And going to do my Kickstarter for the book I've been sitting on for a year. And going to do that. I put it out there because now I have to. Now I said I have to. So
let me get my
myself
wallet
accountable. I appreciate it. I have someone to kill. I have someone that needs killing. So
you always do. You've got droves of people to kill.
Dude, I'm good at killing people verbally. And that goes for a lot, actually. So yeah, May 6th, gonna do the Gaijin Kickstarter campaign. Pretty excited about this book. I think it's the best one I've ever written. I threw out a bunch of beta review copies today, so we'll see what happens. Sorry to hear about that, Judy. I'm Ray. I'm sorry that you're so upset that I'm running another Kickstarter campapian, Ray. I'm sorry that bothered you.
Speaking of killing verbally,
no. So other than that, man, it's I'm just trying to get I'm trying to get myself recentered. I'm doing too much right now, just in life in general, and I gotta kind of realign what's important to me.
Do you think you're doing a lot to keep your mind off of things?
No, I think I've been doing a lot for the last year plus. Like,
okay.
I think I've been doing a lot too much, and like, it's this. I need to scale back a little bit. So, but writing is important to me, and like that's the sacrifice that's been made. And like, here's the thing: when you have this overactive imagination, is you really can't turn it off, right?
Yeah.
So instead of like creating fiction, then my brain is just still creating fiction. Where it's just now it's not focused and channeled into a positive place. It gets focused and channeled into a negative place. And so like I need to realign, so this hopefully is step one into it. Cause like it's been over a year plus since I ran one, and I got books again I want to write, and I gotta figure shit out. So that's where I'm at. Dave, how are you?
I think I'm doing all right. You said the T word, and
I say a lot of words. Which T word specifically are you talking about?
Therapy, and there are people in my life who are telling me I should go to therapy. And
therapy's a good thing, man. I mean, like Dave shared this video that I did on my own a couple weeks ago, where I was just kind of talking through things and trying to normalcy, trying to like make therapy and getting healthy a good thing, like not something to be ashamed of. Because I think there's too many dudes that are afraid to ask for help and afraid to admit that they have like mental issues. Is a wrong thing to say, but like stuff going on they need to talk about. And it's like the only way to get healthy is to talk about these things. Like if I break my arm, I'm gonna go see a doctor.
Yeah, guys don't talk about that stuff.
No, they drink and they kill themselves, and that's not, neither one of them are good. So
let me get my bottle of whiskey.
I got my rum right here. So.
No, I mean, like having a drink is one thing. Drinking to excess, that's
true.
That's what I'm talking about. Is you drink to forget your pain. That's not healthy.
That is almost my entire family. It's like
ditto.
Yeah.
Ditto. Normalize. Thank you, Kassan. There was a word there. Clearly, I'm not as good a writer as I think I am. Just couldn't think of the word normalized. So I mean, like, yeah. So that's what I wanted to do, is just talk about why people should do that, Dave. And if you feel like you need therapy, then I support you, and I think that it would be a good thing to just help you get your shit off, because you got a lot of stuff that happened to you, that I don't know, man. It might be good.
Might be. We'll see.
I recommend.
Okay. Other than that conversation, it's funny because Okay, well, let's start with went out on a date last night with my girlfriend, and then um, she hasn't been feeling well for the last week and a half or so, sore throat, coughing, and whatnot. And my son basically has the same thing. It's some kind of like chest
COVID?
cold that they both have. No, it's not COVID because they don't have all the symptoms. She tested and she was negative, so she has to because she works at a school. So I, but I was feeling fine the whole time. Woke up this morning with a sore throat. So yeah, that's always
Oh.
fun.
Well, when you make
Um,
out with someone with a sore throat, it's gonna get spread. So
and that's the funny thing because she kept saying, "No, no, no, let's not," because I don't want you to get sick. And
But
I'm a
Dave's a
guy.
hornball. Dave's a hornball. So
um, and then I read some really sad news today that not many people are going to know this person. John might. So the Pennsylvania Renaissance Fair. Don Juan and Miguel. John, it's an act.
Mm,
They're they're actually home base was Arizona. They travel around to all the Renaissance fairs throughout the country,
I
and
I d- I know the people that did the Renaissance Fair like 10 years ago. I knew all the
they've
acts
been
then,
they
but
had been together for 40 years as an act.
I don't know if I saw them. Yeah, it was
Um,
Jocko the Juggler and a few others. The Tartan Terrors. Those are the
um,
guys I
so,
know,
so
but
Don
I haven't
Juan,
been lately.
I can't think of the actual person's name. Does whips and stuff, and Miguel is the foil, the not the foil, the comic relief of the act. All the things happen to Miguel. Um, so Douglas Konzolka, I think that's how you say it. Very Polish name. That was
nice.
Miguel, and that's the act I always wanted to see at the Pennsylvania Renaissance Fair. We became friends on Facebook. Like, it's not like you're going to see a big act or something. So it becomes a family, and like they're friends with everyone. And I've always talked to him when I went to the fair and stuff. He suffered a stroke in February, and said like, I'm recovering. I'll be back hopefully in a couple weeks. And then decided all of a sudden there was an announcement. He said, I'm going to retire. The I'm not coming back as strong as I wanted to. He moved out with his family that lives in Oregon, and today found out that he passed away. So, um, and it's just like it's weird. Like it hit me. It's funny because like he would always he did it with everyone. He put a happy birthday post on your Facebook, but if he had a picture with you, and he had a couple pictures with me, he'd post one of the pictures and say happy birthday, and all those kinds of things. And he was one of those always like, you got to look for the positive in life, and you've got to like spread the light and those kinds of messages and
Always look at the bright side of
out
life.
of life. Yeah, so it's
Dun,
like
dun, 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 dun.
it's one of those where it's like he's gonna be sorely missed. So
This, we are just a bundle of sunshine tonight. Like
I don't know.
just the happiest crew.
I don't know. Like I think it's important to be real though. Like if death is part of being real, and like sometimes you got to talk about it. Like this is an open
yeah,
forum, and maybe
so
Oh,
you got those things.
yeah, I get it. And I gotta say, like I am jealous of your relationship with your father because when my father goes, my the you know the I'll be sad if there just isn't a good bottle of whiskey at the time. Like it's I do not have a good relationship and have never had a good relationship with at the very least my father. So it but yeah, like oh boy. Look, let me join in. The my neighbor's dog passed away this week.
oh my god.
the two the
Also,
two the two little girls that take care of my cats were devastated, so I sent them a fruit flowers with two little plush puppies. So
all right, how about this? I bought myself a birthday present. I know it's early, but these were limited edition and they were going to sell out. So one of the guitar companies that I like, where did we upset JD that much?
I hope not.
Um, or was he getting upset about his camera?
Probably both.
All right. So let me just say that I'm going to message him in a second. That there's a guitar company I like called Firefly. They make knockoffs. They're a low to mid range priced guitars, and they had a limited run on these Eddie Van Halen copies that um, came out, and they sold out the day that they dropped. So I bought one, and I'm glad that I did. So that was my birthday. I used my part of my bonus that I got, and um, that is my. I know my birthday's not till June, but it's my birthday present to myself. So yeah,
Well,
that was
that's
the that was a good thing. Um, I don't know where JD is. I'm I'm
well,
what do you call it? I'm
knowing where he
stalling
is,
for time here.
he could have lost power or whatever. So why don't we go to? Oh well, no, never mind. We don't have to go to inappropriate.
So
We don't have to do inappropriate. Just skip over it. Let's go straight to subscribe.
wait, this one, I have a couple of them saved on my phone.
No, no, no,
This
no,
one,
no.
this
Dave,
one
Dave,
fits.
you can take
This
the
one,
knife. You don't have to. I mean,
this one
just
fits
take a
with the
break.
theme of the week. This one fits with our theme so far. Give a man a match, and he'll be warm for a few hours. Set a man on fire, and he'll be warm for the
For
rest
the
of his
rest of his
life.
life, yes. I have heard that one. Okay.
Ah,
That's man, everything's gonna be dark tonight. Is there anything on here that's oh no, we're gonna do the trailer for The Crow too. Oh man, this is a just why didn't we do this on Halloween? Like
oh my goodness.
oh my gosh. All right. So,
Uh-oh. Was that you or me?
no, that was me. Sorry, I should have put this on. So let's see.
All right, let's do a little social media
In-
madness while we're waiting for JD to get back.
There you go. That chased him away.
So okay, let's start with this. Remember we talked about Peacemaker last week, how season 2 is going to be part of the DCU and
Yeah,
season
that
1 is not.
right.
Go
We
ahead.
talked about it. The notes here say continuity is a crutch, right?
Right.
I mean,
that was
that
that was
kind of
that
go
was
ahead.
Randy's line. So
Right, but it kind of strikes me as like a lot of the urban fantasy that I read, like they are long running. They're long running stories. So like Jim Butcher is he's gonna have like 23 books in his thing. That's continuity. Like you can't write a story that long and that involved without continuity, right?
yeah.
So it's I understand where DC is, but like when you get to the continuity of DC and Marvel, where you've got so much history that in order to tell new stories, you have to do something about all the previous continuity.
Right.
So, but there is a time and a place for it. It's not you can't just make the continuity as a crutch. It is in certain cases they use it as a crutch, most indubitably, but not But sometimes if you're writing like a long story, like Babylon 5 is a perfect example.
yeah.
Like that had a very long running. Like the very first scene in Babylon 5 is one of the very last scenes in Babylon 5. So, or yeah, so it has a time and a place depending on the writer. If you're
Yeah.
not a good enough writer, you shouldn't have continuity. Or if your continuity already spans over like 50 years, then you do what DC and Marvel is and keep kind of erasing parts of it and trying to reboot somehow. Although don't do it like DC has, because they've been whiffing on it for over a decade.
Um
New
so
52
over
and the
on
rebirth to fix that. They're doing another crisis to fix that, and so Jesus.
over on YouTube, Graves74 said, "Canon and continuity is a crutch that people use when they don't have anything else to fall back on. Take Star Trek 2009, for instance. Everyone was up in arms about it because it wasn't the original, nor did it fall in. Oh, wait. Read more. Duh.
Read more.
Nor did it fall into the exact line of the original series the next generation was on. The problem was that nobody wanted to accept that it was didn't want to accept that it was in a different timeline, and B, possibly in a parallel universe where things are similar but different as to itself.
You're talking about the Fast and Furious timeline, right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
basically
I
what it is.
think there are a lot more problems with those movies than just they're in a different timeline. A lot.
A lot.
There's plenty more to pick from.
Over on TikTok, Trevor Manzo said they're probably going to keep the storyline but going to retcon any Justice League references. Oh,
That's possible.
I got kicked out.
Back. You got kicked out.
Yeah. Whoa! Almost knocked my computer over too. Yeah, I got my excuse me, StreamYard just crashed on me. So.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, sorry about
Interesting.
that. Okay.
I thought it was something I said.
So to catch you up, the inappropriate joke of the week.
Oh, sorry, I missed this.
Was give a man a match, he'll keep himself warm for hours. Set him on fire, he'll be warm for the rest of his life. Which I thought fit with what we were talking about earlier. And now what we're talking about, social media madness. Last week, you missed this, obviously. We were talking about James Gunn came out and said Peacemaker Season 2 will be part of the DCEU, and Peacemaker Season 1 doesn't count anymore. It's not part of continuity. So, when we were talking about it, Randy said, oh, well, continuity is a crutch. You know.
There's a time and a place for it. Depends on what you're writing.
Yeah. But you got to address it as to why something switches to being non... I mean, like, are we getting a crisis? Like, I just want to know.
Yeah, well, that was kind of the joke that Randy said. He said he'll probably do a crisis and wipe everything out, and then boom, kick off the DCU. So
yeah, it's basically what DC does every time they have a hell, even the animated movies.
I mean, did we get a crisis? I mean, was that what Flashpoint was? Was it supposed? I mean, like, I wish there was something a little more concrete telling us that everything is new again. You know, we just got a joke.
Yeah. Oh, fair enough, man. Fair enough, Ray.
Kazan says continuity needs a singular focus. Too many chefs in the kitchen and such. It seems like they have that now. Like there's not as many chefs in the kitchen now. It's just James Gunn and Peter Safran. I think we just need that delineation. And like to be fair, they haven't had a chance to do any of their stuff yet. I just want to know for like my own sake as a fan. Like if they plan on some type of reboot crisis thing, I just want them to tell us. And I don't feel like we have that yet. Like right now, it's muddled. Like if there's an answer, just give it to us, and I'm fine. If there's an answer, just let me know what it is.
So over on TikTok, Trevor Manzo said probably going to keep the storyline, but going to retcon any Justice League references. I could see them doing that. Just Josh. Now, John's reaction was, "How do you do that?" When I said they were going to get rid of season 1, and he said, how do you do that? Do you even read comic books? Everything's made up and the points don't matter.
It's kind of true.
That is a reference to Whose Line Is It Anyway, by the way, for those who don't get it.
That's fair. That's fair.
Tonito said they should have at least made it a dream sequence instead of retconning the whole story. That would be funny. Like, Peacemaker wakes up in bed.
Like... Or in the shower, like in Dallas. So there's that 70.
Yeah, there you go. And White Trash. Ugh. I don't even want to read her comments. Never mind.
Then don't.
No. I'm not going to, because basically all she does is insult us.
Oh, good. I hope they're good insults.
I don't know, man.
I already closed it.
I ain't going to be mad about what someone of White Trash says about us, so, you know.
Oh no, somebody in the internet thinks you're crap. I mean, like...
I'm in the club. I think I'm crap.
That doesn't happen.
Yeah, that's something I'm trying to avoid, are those kind of comments. All right, So, moving on, I asked a question this week, and I asked, what do you think of AI? Is it a useful tool for artists or a soulless abomination? Let me know in the comments down below. Starting over on Facebook, Tim Jones said, I
Uh-oh.
see AI as the self-checkout while doing the same function operated by the consumer. It's taking the job from the person performing the service for the consumer. I draw my strip old school, so this AI thing is a little foreign to me. And then he says the Leviel. I don't know what
C'est
that.
la vie.
Okay,
Such is life.
such is life. Oh, okay. I don't speak
It's
French.
French.
No,
Isn't that
no
how you got
French.
sick?
Nice.
Kissing it, not speaking it. There's a
Very,
difference.
very good.
Gotcha.
Oh my god. Uh,
Next.
what is going on here?
I don't know, man. The show's dying. That's what's going on here.
Yeah, we're
all right, I'm gonna have
tonight.
All right, over on TikTok,
Wait,
Dr. Lane says, "I have a moral issue with it. If it make if the makers ask permission to train their machine on the work of artists, pay them, etc., then I wouldn't have a problem with it. But they apparently did not.
and they haven't for a lot of sites. Like all of DeviantArt was scraped.
Yes.
You know, they're scraping
Jay-
Etsy for crying out loud.
J.H. Reynolds said, if Piss Christ is art, then AI art is art. You can't have it both ways."
I am
good.
unfamiliar with that.
Good. Good.
I am sure it's some kind of a derogatory thing towards Christians.
Well, that's pretty obvious there, Dave.
Retro Pop Gear said, if you use it as a tool, it's a tool. If you use it to make finished art as a solitary finished work, you will fail and unlikely to replace anyone's job. Which actually sparked a big conversation with some other people, basically saying, it's already happening, and whatnot, but I'm not going to get into all those. Apparently, this is a turkey sandwich, said, apparently some AI art has shown up at thrift stores, so people are already trying to print off images and selling them. Yeah, well, we know
AI
this.
art is already showing up in Comic-Cons.
Yeah. Infernex said, it's a fantastic inspiration in my honest opinion. And Toxic said, both. It's both. Both a tool for artists and an abomination. So,
Much like the internet itself.
yes. No, the problem was that I couldn't get X to load on my computer here. It was telling me my login was wrong. So,
We're good. We don't have to.
Yeah, we don't need to. Like, let me put it to you this way. Like, they're using internally. I work at Comcast, as most people that watch us know. Internally, we have our own site for internal employees and such. And they used to have, how lots of businesses use those happy people. They go to one of those. They pay models or whatever to be the happy people in the background. The background images, looking through the employee handbook and whatever. Yeah, now models like AI, famous AI models, which is kind of a weird thing to say.
It's a very weird thing to say.
But what was it? It was a one created by Ruben Cruz. I forget what her name is. Oh, Aitana, Aitana, Aitana. Like her picture is throughout our internal employee website, and I was looking through. I was like, wait a minute. So,
real quick, digital. Yeah, and I get your. Hold on. I don't. Before I forget, Digital Discussion, the Pop Culture Nerd podcast, said, I think AI art is very similar to NFTs and buying social media influence, a waste of money and time. Yet people keep fooling themselves into thinking it's worth something.
I don't know if I agree with that.
Well, we're definitely going to get into this more.
I just don't see I honestly just don't see that parallel.
Okay. Let's see.
Hmm.
Oh,
Kazan says, I think the DCU label is a signal for a continuity reboot.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think as a fan base, we need a marker, like something within the movie
Yes.
or within the movies to tell you that,
especially if you're bringing over
existing
properties into the new universe and acting like everything's different, but nothing.
I think it's like, as comic fans, we see this. We have a term for it. It's crisis. We saw it with the first crisis, where you don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. And we're seeing it for the first time, really, in a cinematic sense. And I think that you're going to have to educate people on what that means specifically. We're just not there yet. That's 10 minutes ago's conversation. So, Kassan also says AI is an extension of a studio's desire to saturate their creation to cast as wide a net as possible. It's an underlying principle is using the accumulated art to create reductive content. I mean, I think saying the studio is a little bit of a too grand of a term, because it's more than it goes beyond that. It's like, 8-Bit races. I have a lot of money wrapped up in AI, so I can't speak badly about it.
Yeah. We'll have a talking to with you later, right?
No, we won't.
Here's a fun little tidbit, since we're working on AI or talking about it. There is this concept of what was it? Roku's basilisk. And basically the idea is that if an AI, say, was going to be generated in the future, and it was going to kill everybody who didn't help it become, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then would you not work towards keeping it from being generated now, on the off chance that it might be generated later and then kill you?
Would you kill baby Hitler?
Yeah, well, it's also
kind of what you're
it's
asking.
also like Pascal's wager. It's like, if you don't believe in God, that's fine, but you can believe in God, not change anything, and then you're covered in case he actually exists. That's Pascal's wager. So like for AI, Roku's basilisk is pretty much the same thing. It's like if you think that is inevitable, that an AI will take over the world, then if not supporting it now will wind up killing you later, would you not work against it now just in case?
But we're not talking the term AI is thrown around so much. What we're talking about is automation. We're not talking about sentience.
Yeah, we're talking generative or predictive algorithms, not true AI.
That's what I'm saying. So I mean, that's like saying, well, if you invent fireworks, eventually, someone's going to get shot with a gun. It's like, okay, but I mean, the two don't necessarily have to be the same thing. Like, you're really kind of, it's a slippery slope that I think is kind of, I'll be honest, ridiculous. Because we're not talking about Skynet here. We're talking about generating pictures, and there's a giant chasm of logic between those things.
True.
I think it actually hurts the arguments against AI when you talk about them, when those kind of comparisons are made.
Yeah.
Well, the problem being that AI is as bad as it'll ever be right now, and it's only going to get better. And there is the gap between generative algorithms or predictive algorithms that we're using now and true AI. That gap is always getting closer.
And then what? We got on this path when we started with manufacturing, like when we started doing assembly line manufacturing. That's where we got.
Yeah,
that is
Ford
process.
from Model Ts.
Yeah, I mean, that's the process. We've been moving away from an artisan culture for centuries now. What do we do? We just say, oh, well, I can't do that. It's new. I mean, we should just do this. We should just get into this and save everything else for the end of the show. Because this is we're here. We should just do this, as opposed to pausing and then coming back to it to talk about
I know, because
trailers and stuff, because this is the conversation. This is what we sold the show on. So I mean, like, we're here. We should just do this.
All right. Well, that's the end of social media madness. Let's do our bumper. Here's our good friend Don to tell you more.
How's the show going? You enjoying it? Do you want to be part of social media madness? And go ahead and head over to superheroespeak.com, where you can find all the social links, episodes of the show. You can find comic reviews by Chris and other articles. We're posting stuff on there all the time. And while you're there, check out the rest of the Geek World All-Stars Podcast Network. Great shows like the Pop Prison Power Podcast, Colt 45, Fans on Patrol, the Gorilla Brain Podcast, So Wizard, and Superhero Speak. Hashtag GW All-Stars, and you will not be disappointed. So make sure that you are engaging with the Superhero Speak Twitter post whenever they come up. Give us your best comment, and you may make JD say this.
I get so tired of these dumb motherfuckers.
All right, it's back to the show.
Old school. I'm not there. I'm not there today.
I had to include that one because you returned, and
Appreciate
yeah. So thanks for that, Don. And don't forget to check out Mega Level Nerds is making a comeback, and so don't forget to check that out over on YouTube. And yeah, and okay, I have a treat for you, JD. Since you've been out, we've got a new one.
Oh, good.
From Ray. Not Ray, Randy.
Oh. Some podcasts are like this.
I think that men need to toughen up, and I think if men were forced to be homeless, they would learn how to be better men. Because that's what made men manly in the past, was having to build houses and stuff. If we just made men be homeless for like a year, I think it would fix a lot of problems.
That would be
society.
so good, especially because we don't force men to do military anymore like they used to. They make them homeless for a year. Let's see how they fucking
make them just figure it out. Make them homeless in a country where they don't know the language, and that way they really have to go through something, and then maybe they can like
be appreciative.
And some podcasts are like this.
Okay, now he's on the second one. Back to the Oreos. If you consume why'd you just blow on the Red Bull?
It's too spicy.
It's too spicy?
Yeah, you know, whenever you get a carbonated drink, and
don't
it's
owe him
yeah.
like that makes it.
So whenever you open a drink and it's carbonated, it's too spicy on the tongue, so you gotta like blow on it to cool it down a little bit, or just leave it open for 4.5 hours
to cool it down.
Yeah, you gotta like de-sizzle it.
De-sizzle. You're the de-sizzler now.
No, but it's harsh on my tongue.
Define that.
It's harsh on my tongue and my teeth.
You're drinking Red Bull. Yeah, you definitely have cavities.
No.
Go to a dentist.
I haven't gone to a dentist in 6 years.
I know you. That's so bad.
This scares me.
De-sizzle is what you just said.
Yeah, you know.
De-sizzle a drink.
Take a bite.
I'm not chewing anything. It's a drink.
No, but if it's too spicy, you do have to go calm down the bubbles.
But only one podcast is where you can get in-depth analysis like this.
But this bathroom shit, bro, creepy as fuck. I don't like this shit. I don't like the noise. I don't like the official grudge chick noise.
Yeah.
It creeps me. I used to do it as a kid when I was bored. I don't even do it to be cute.
A couple minutes today, just like, how does it sound again?
Okay, I did it before we got on the podcast just to see if I could.
Yeah, that shit.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Death rattle.
Ugh, don't say it like that. Come on, Mel. Don't.
The gargle.
Don't add to it. I gotta go to bed by myself tonight, guys. Don't do that.
Does that feel good?
Thanks, bro. Thanks a lot, bro.
You are now listening to Cult 45.
This is Beat 'em Down.
And I'm Random Randy Savage.
Find us on all your podcatching apps like Podbean or Spotify. And follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Or just go to www.cult45podcast.com.
Also, check out our YouTube for that sweet, sweet video content.
Cult 45, the only podcast that puts hair on your chest.
A death rattle is a real thing.
I'm going to go live on the streets for a little while to toughen up.
Oh, God.
So, like, at first, I kind of get what they were saying, because, like, there are a lot of soft people in the world who don't know how to like do anything. So I'm like, okay, there's something to this, and they really took it to an extreme, and it became very much a man hater thing. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, like, you have some points, and then you completely derail yourself by just taking it too, like now it's just torturing. Now you just want to torture men, and granted, there's a lot of like entitled sissy little bitch men who probably could use some toughening up. But not quite that extreme. So the other guy, he's not wrong. He just doesn't know the right verbs to use.
Right. And saying, because it makes it sound like, oh, it's hot like spicy, so you blow on it to make it cool. And it's like, no.
I mean, like, he's right, because sometimes, like, when the carbonation is too much, it is a little too much in your mouth, and I don't know if blowing on it makes it better, but what he's essentially doing is he's like taking out some of the carbonation. He's settling the drink a little bit. So, like, I get what you're saying. You just are so dumb that you don't know how to use the correct verbs to tell what you're doing.
Remember, he's the guy that didn't believe in evaporation.
I know. He's really stupid, but at the same time, like, there is some thought process into what this man is saying. He is just really dumb. So, like, you ever hear Plato's allegory of the cave? Okay, this is one of my favorite philosophical concepts. So Plato talked about how there were three men, and their whole life they were basically tied to a chair, and they were facing a cave wall with a giant hearth behind them that was casting shadows on this wall. So their entire life existence is essentially what plays out in these shadows. That's reality to them, right? And then one day, man gets untied, and he decides to turn around. And for the first time, he sees the great hearth, and he sees what's casting these shadows. And then he wonders what's beyond the hearth. So he leaves the cave, goes to Athens, experiences real life. And he is so excited about what he sees, he comes back to the cave to find his friends, tells them the truth about what he saw. It tells them that what they think they witnessed, that every day, is a lie to them. This is not the reality which they are presented, is not the truth. So he unties his friends and they kill him. And they go back to sitting in their seat to look at the shadows.
Wow. He predicted social media.
I mean, it's kind of true. I mean, like, it's Plato, man. He's right, because people would rather accept the reality with which they're presented than understand the truth. And what I'm talking about with this guy is this guy has ideas. Like, he's got a fundamental understanding of things. He's just so dumb and chooses not to, like, make himself smarter that we all just point and laugh at him, rather than acknowledging the fundamental flaws in. And I don't just want to shit on the educational system because I'm a part of it, but I mean, like, the flaws in just what is acceptable for people in the 21st century to be. You know, we just laugh at dumb people. We don't try to, like, help.
Like,
and the problem is, well, here's the problem. A lot of them won't accept the help to begin with. They're comforted by their stupidity.
And the flaws in the education system aren't the people; it's underfunding and underpaying, and it's they're not the teachers' fault. It's everybody else.
It's not just it's not the teacher. It's the administration of a lot of schools too. But the thing is, like, but it's also the society that we live in now, and it's the world we live in now. Is like,
I don't think it's no. I think now is an incorrect statement, because Plato was talking about this 2,000 years ago.
No, and I get that. And
this is a statement on humanity.
I think what Plato is saying is there were always people like that, but I think it's been magnified so much because
I don't think
people
it's been magnified.
People get into a bubble on social media, only follow things that have confirmation bias for them.
But it's magnified because we live in an era where information is more available than at any point in history.
Right.
At no time have people been this exposed to the truth and this much knowledge that it grabs through your fingers. And there's an argument that says mankind can't handle that. Right. And a lot of people have proven that we can't.
Yeah.
Right. Because again, like I said, we like the metaphor that I was using before, most people are comforted by the shadows of which are presented before them. Like, a lot of people don't like the idea of challenging the nature of what they perceive and challenging the nature of their existence. So this is not, and people say, well, today it's so bad. Today it's so bad. Today, I mean, like, propaganda is a real thing, and it's existed for thousands of years.
No, it's funny because I actually had gotten into a conversation with someone on social media about.
That was your first mistake.
Well, and that was the whole thing. There was a meme that someone put up, and I'm like, well, wait a minute, like, that's not true. And I found a website that had the actual data on it, and I said, like, this is, here's the actual information, and someone kept coming back at me like, well, no, it's this and it's this, but like he had no he had no evidence to support his arguments. He was just kept saying I was wrong, and it was like
the shadows, man. It's the allegory of the cave. The allegory of the cave is so rooted not into our society, but into the foundation of our DNA and the foundation of humanity. Not everyone in society, but by and large, the fabric of mankind is so comforted by what they think they know.
Yeah.
Because if we don't know, a lot of people have a hard time admitting they don't know shit. Right. Yeah. And like, it's hard for people to sit there and go, I don't know. I don't know anything.
That's the whole thing. And this has been said by many people time and time again. The older you get, the more you realize you don't know.
Right.
That's wisdom, when you realize, like, oh, I don't know everything I thought I know.
Well, that's the Dunning-Kruger effect. The less you know, the more you think you know. And the more you know, the less you think you know.
Right.
Like, but just to put a little bit of spin on this, because of the internet age, because we're so connected, we hear more about the stupid people that claim to know what they. Also, because we're so connected, it gives them a chance to act out on it more.
Yeah, they can fight each other.
Because before they could go log into a message board and find out there are other people that feel the same way, and then they could collectively get together and actually make something happen. They used to just live apart, not knowing that there were so many.
No, that's not true. Like, you look at like white supremacists and stuff like that. They've always found back channels with which to connect. There's always been like manifestos and like people have always been able to connect. It's just easier now.
But flat earthers are coming back because the internet is connecting them all.
Agreed, but I mean,
don't get me started on flat earthers.
It's not what they're dumb. But it's not like these people haven't existed. It's not like we haven't had cults. It's not like we haven't had.
We have.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it just this gets magnified. Now your ideas can reach people easier.
But our cults could never used to be able to span, from one continent to the next.
The thing that bothers me when I get into those conversations, and like I try to when I see something, I'm like, that doesn't sound right to me, and I go and look up the information and find like a reputable source and say, hey, here's the truth, and then someone starts arguing with me, like, A, they didn't go to the site that I sent them, and B, they're not like searching, like they have a device in their hand that has all of the knowledge of the world, and they can search and find a source to counter my argument if they really look for it, and they don't even bother to do that.
You got to think about this too. Like, we didn't have ways with which to challenge sources back in the day. People just accepted blindly what they believed in.
True.
Right? And like, now we have sources, but not all sources are equal. And that's the problem, is like, as a society, we don't know how to cite sources. We don't know how to find sources. Like, we don't know how to annotate. Like, this is something that we as a society are trying to learn, because the common man was never supposed to have these kind of thoughts.
Oh, no. Ray, I would go to pay-per-view to see that. Put them all in a ring.
Hey, I don't want to say. Well, actually, Dave's shows. Yeah, Scientology's stupid. Like, well, Dave. Like,
wait. Look. I don't want to get the Scientologists mad. So,
what are you doing? We don't do that here.
You never know. Tom Cruise could be watching.
Exactly.
I do declare, I'm feeling the Thetans.
Rapid Ray says Facebook facts are not real sources. I know, man. The fact that people bring up memes to like confirm it's scary. But memes are such and this is what I teach: graphic communication, like using media to sell a message. And like, again, this isn't nothing new. Leni Riefenstahl got paid a lot of money by Adolf Hitler to make Triumph of the Will.
I saw one the other day that like got me, and it was. Hold on, real quick. I saw one the other day and was talking about medical costs, and I will not deny that medical costs are out of control in this country. However, it said a hip replacement costs this much in the United States and this much in France, right? And it was just numbers. It was just value, the cost. And I'm like, but this doesn't tell the whole picture. Like, what's the cost of living in France? What's the average salary? What are the tax rates? Like, there could be a reason that it's so much cheaper, other than the cost is high in the United States. And it was like,
because they can collectively bargain with the manufacturer, which we don't allow in the
We
US,
don't allow that in this country. Like,
Yeah.
again, it's different. Like, you're paying a lot more in taxes in France, so ergo,
my point was,
you pay
like,
less
this is a
for
much
medical treatment.
It's a much more complicated than just presenting two numbers. And the person didn't understand what I was getting at. And I'm like, okay, that's it. I'm done with the conversation.
Okay, first, number one, JD,
Yes.
graphic. What was the name? Graphic
communication.
Graphic communication. So what part do you go? When do you go over horse heads in beds?
Oh, I teach that in video production.
Oh, cool.
That's the Godfather, man. This is a clip I show people, and I warned them.
And the other thing is, none of this is going to matter when AI takes over.
All right. Okay, what we're going to do is we'll start with what I call the last news story, and that leads into the main topic, because this is what triggered this whole topic for me this week.
True.
So Todd McFarlane did a contest called Spawnuary, where he said basically each week there was a different theme. The first week was just Spawn. The second week was Spawn the Gunslinger. Then it was Scorched Spawn, I think it's called, and then, which I think is Spawn without the mask, and then finally the villains. And you just put your artwork online with the hashtag Spawnuary, and then him and his team are going to review all the entries and pick a winner for each category and announce them. Well, they announced the winners this week. And instead of one winner per category, they picked like 4 per category. And one of the winners for the villain category is a user. The screen name, no one knows his real name, is Robot9K, and he's an AI artist. And it even said in the official rules that they wouldn't allow AI art in this go around, but they picked one of them. And there's been no talk from McFarlane or anyone at Image about this, but everyone now and this is the funny thing, and this is what I found odd about the whole thing, is no one in the nerd news circle, none of the websites I go to, like I'm not going to name them. I'll leave their names out of it, but none of the sites I normally go to for this kind of news is talking about this at all. But yet a lot of artists I know and follow on social media are all complaining about it. Like, how could they allow this? This isn't right. And it's been pretty controversial among artists online. So,
what was the prize?
They're using your cover on an Image comic, and I'm sure they're paying you whatever their page rate is or their cover rate is.
All right.
Well,
so, I mean, I think that's the issue with that, in my opinion, is that, there were people who worked hard to create covers for this, and someone just typed in a prompt, give me a Violator image, and it spit it out, and he won.
And if that was your prompt, you got something you did not expect.
True. 8-Bit Ray says the best thing about AI art is a computer can't comprehend how to do bad live-filled art. There's a lot to that, Ray. I'm glad you said that. So what people are mad about is that it did a better job in some cases. Like, I don't know, man. I got to be honest with you. Like, I have complicated thoughts on this. Like, I'm a firm believer that AI is a tool. It's a tool. I'm teaching it in my classes because it's part of Photoshop now, generative AI. It's just the way things are, right? And there's people that got mad about Photoshop 20 years ago, right? Mm-hmm. There's, I don't know, man. Like,
but Photoshop doesn't create the final product for you.
I can't do it doesn't. Though. It can if you know what you're doing with it. And with AI art, you have to know how to enter the prompts correctly, because it's not. I mean, like, it's not just a Violator and Spawn pose. Like, it's just
it's a trial and error thing, though. After 5 attempts, you'll get it.
And that's the thing, though, is then there are limitations to it. Honest to God, it doesn't bother me.
Well, let's level set here. So, what we're talking about is predictive algorithms, generative systems. Basically, you take an AI, you create a generative system, and then you teach it. You throw all this data into it. And the more data you throw into it, the more it can do. So, for example, if you take it and you throw it a whole bunch of pictures of human bodies in different positions, the more positions you give it, the more it understands how a human body moves. So one of the problems that we can start with is that the way they're teaching these things is they're basically screen scraping huge amounts of images from everywhere, from websites, from like places like DeviantArt, places like YouTube, places like Etsy, wherever people post art, even private collections. They'll send a bot after it and have it suck in all of the images into their system to train the AI. And that's where a lot of lawsuits are starting to come from, because the artists did not give their permission for this to happen to their art. One of the biggest arguments is that, I spent my life learning how to create this art, and you're feeding it to the system that is now going to pump out something that has learned from my art, and in some cases may even pump out parts of my art. And and I am not getting compensated for this.
What are the terms of service for the sites? Like DeviantArt. That's what it's coming down to. What are the terms of service?
I know this is part of the problem.
There actually have been artists who have pointed out that, like, in some AI generated stuff, you can see the actual work from another image in there.
Sometimes if you, with the wrong prompt, you can see their signature from their art on the finished piece. And the terms of service from some of these sites. Well, first off, I don't think many of them, if any of them at all, were actually ready for this situation. So in a lot of cases, it's not covered because it just wasn't a thing. And in other cases, the sites are owned by big corporations. You get your YouTube and all that, and even DeviantArt is owned by a huge group. So,
do you remember a decade ago? Sorry, John. I'll let you finish.
No, go ahead.
Do you remember a decade ago when people were putting this thing on their Facebook pages? Says, I do not give Facebook the right to consent to any of the images on my page.
And it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter because you're using their site. That's their terms of service. So they can do whatever they want with your pictures, and it doesn't matter. Like, this is like, I mean, I'm not saying that, tough shit. Because, there's a lot of gray area right now. But I have a real hard time when people are like, well, AI art isn't art. I'm like, who are you to say? Who are you to say?
I'm an artist. I write music.
I write books too. And guess what? It doesn't bother me in the slightest. So it comes down to the consumer, and the consumer isn't going to care ultimately. If your work if you are so replaceable that an AI can do your job as good as you, sorry, man, it's automation. We don't have blacksmiths anymore either.
But there are other problems, like speaking to you as an author. Mm-hmm. There are authors out there that are going onto Amazon and finding just shotgun pellet sprays of their work with other people's name on it, or work that includes parts of their work. And in some cases even has the original author's name on it. They're putting out there as that author.
But that's been happening without AI. Scammers, they steal. True. Scammers have been stealing since KDP was launched. James says, fuck AI and its users. Well, fuck me in the butt, I guess. Since KDP launched, there's always been scammers. There's always been people who want to steal. There's always been people who will trace art and sell it as their own. If the idea is theft and making theft more difficult for people that are less than scrupulous, okay, sure. But if the argument is that, and there's people that sit there and say you should not be allowed to use any AI art or any AI generated content to help you out. Like if I go into Midjourney and I come up with a prompt that I kind of like, why can't I go into Photoshop, move it around, do what I need to do to correct it to do something that I want? And why is that? Why should I be crucified, for lack of a better term, because I want to do that, because I can save money? I tell you what, I just didn't. Amazon reached out to me last week and said, we're inviting you to be part of our Kindle beta for AI generated audiobook. And I experimented with it. I gave one of my short stories to do it, and it sounded fine. It's okay. Didn't cost me anything. For someone who's playing at the lowest level of entry, like, I think it can only help people get their careers started.
Right. Okay. So 3 things to what you're saying. Number one, as you're defending your use of AI. Let's all just agree AI isn't going away.
That's where
AI is here to stay. We're going to have to figure out how, as a society, we are going to deal with it and use it. The other thing is to your point about the book sales, right? There's always been scammers. Yes, the problem is economies of scale.
I get
it. A scammer could like take your work, stick their name on it, or put a pseudonym on it, or take parts of it, paste it all together and put it out. But they could do that once a week if they were really tenacious. Now they can do that 1,000 times a day.
How does that affect me as a writer?
Well,
no, seriously, like this idea, it's this idea that that everything is this little ball, and that if someone has something, then I can't have it. Right? That it's this whole, and that quite frankly, that's the base idea of a lot of capitalism, is that if someone else has something, it means I don't have that thing. If someone is gonna scam something, and that, like, there's not going to be a person who's going to go, well, I could buy this book from JD Oliva, or I could buy this book from Robot X9. I'm going to buy Robot X9s. Like, that person wasn't going to buy for me. I want people to buy my stuff. Like, I don't understand. I think that's a ridiculous argument to say, well, they can steal. Bernie Madoff stole a bunch. And it's buyer beware. If you're an artist, if you buy a book written by an AI and it sucks, that's on you. If you buy a book written by an AI and you fucking love it, what's the problem?
Okay. Here's the thing, though. There's a term in networking administration called denial of service attack. It's when you take a website and you throw so many requests at it that it brings it down. That happens a lot. There are a lot of black hat hackers that have done that to like large sites even. The same thing is being done to certain authors, because yes, your work, if people buy your work, that's great. And if somebody else puts out work that's derivative of yours and they don't like it, that's fine. The problem is that because they've put out 1,000 different slight variations of your work, and if they see those first off, if those works hadn't existed, they might have seen your work first and bought your job. So basically, they've stolen sales from you because they've gotten to that first, and they might like see you later at all.
No, I don't buy that.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem as I see it. You said something earlier, JD. Oh, well, if it's better than you, then so what? It's not that it's better than you. It's cheaper than you. And that's what companies are going to look at.
Correct.
They're going to say, I need covers for these comics. I'm not going to hire a cover artist anymore. I can just type in a prompt. Give me a Batman doing this pose, swinging from or doing whatever, fighting.
Or I need a book about werewolves.
And if someone wants to buy, but that's the thing, though. It's like I can head for the hills and be scared that an AI is going to take my job. And if it does the job better than me, then I'm not that good. When in reality, the only way an artist can survive is to have people loyal to them as an artist.
Right, like, but they have to find you first. If they don't find you because they put a forest around you of crap that they're spamming every day.
No, that's not the idea, though. The idea that the only way to reach people is by, because they're saying, I've played with the Amazon algorithm. I've tried to sell books. It's really difficult as it is to stand out amongst the sea of Stephen Kings and all that. That is tough. And if you're covering your description, right? That's what sells you if you don't have a name. Otherwise, you got to do what everyone else has done for generations. And you got to beat the doors and tell people, hey, buy my book because of this. Hey, buy my book because of that. I'll tell you this right now. I sell far more books because people know me and want to buy my stuff than I ever did when I was selling on Amazon playing the algorithm game, right? That is the only way to ensure your success. Like, again, if you want to spend a bunch of money on Amazon ads, they're just going to take your money, right? And it's buyer beware. If your stuff sucks, your stuff sucks. There's nothing that's going to happen anyway. I can't sit there and say, like, that person bought this AI-generated book from Werewolves, and they really should have bought my book. That's on me. That's on me. And like I said, as an artist, if I need to buy, like, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I love my comic Deluge. That cost me 10 freaking grand to get that done. I will never see that money again to do it. Would it have been better for me to do it as cheap as possible to get my foot on the ground? Yeah. So I don't make that mistake again. And I'm not going to say working like I was making, he did an awesome book. I just, like, I never made my money back on it. Right. So am I going to try to beg, borrow, and steal every cent to keep things as cheap as possible until I can afford to do it better? For sure. Yes, absolutely 100%. And I don't like being shamed because of that. I get shamed because I want to save money. Okay. I'm a piece of shit. I'll take it.
No. See, yeah, but that's wrong too. You should
that's
be
what
shamed
happens.
for using it. Yeah,
that's the argument. James says I agree that my dislike is a fear of competing, and that's the fight everyone's in. Everything is a competition when we're in this business. Like, you're fighting with other guys, you're fighting with other people. You're always fighting for your space, and you have to take care of your space. The second you worry about pissing out, you're not worried about what's being pissing in.
So Drew says, would comic readers stop buying comics if cover art was AI generated? It could be good enough and cheaper to eliminate cover artists. Well, number one, they're not going to lower the price if they use AI. That's the thing. Like, they're not going to lower the price. So
and all the covers look like Rob Liefeld did them because he did fingers.
But I want to talk about that in a second too. But here's the thing. Yes, Drew, it would hurt because there are people who buy comics specifically because of an artist or a writer that's doing the book.
But that's why it's not going to happen. If you have created if you have created yourself as the marketplace, if you are good enough where, dude, Jim Lee is going to sell way more comic covers than Robot X9. I love that we can personify AI as Robot X9. I think that's fantastic. That's his value. Jim Lee has value as a cover artist specifically. He doesn't have to worry about that. Some rando on the street got to worry about that, but they got to build you got to build, man. You got to build. This is like, okay, so we see this all the time too in entertainment and wrestling writing. You see these AI, these I think the lowest form of writer is the, what do they call them? The aggregators. The people that rewrite your article, that rewrite articles and then pass them off as their own. They're fucking scum. I think they're worse than AI. So what we're seeing a lot of these sites are just using AI to do the aggregation for them. Yep. Why should I feel bad about someone like that who's just taking someone else's work anyway, but they're taking 20 minutes out of their time to rewrite someone else's work rather than just entering a prompt and having it done for them. If that's your value, I got nothing for you, man. I got nothing for you. I cannot feel bad about that. James Burton says, marketing is about finding people who love you. I'm still building my following, man, and I'm like JD barely finding it. Yeah, man. I mean, that's the struggle. We have to fight for our shelf space. And like, I'm going to fight with our AI. I'm going to fight with the dude who is really good. I'm going to fight with Stephen King because that's all I can do is fight.
To your point about the cover artist, right? Yeah, you have to sell, you have to get yourself out there, and work your way up to the point where they want your art as the cover, right? What if all of the comic book places, all the comic book companies are using AI art and they don't ever need to give you a chance because that's too cheap?
Then you need to do it yourself. And this is the harsh lesson I learned because I told you guys the story I had with Vertigo about 5-6 years ago, where I sat there with them. They like Jamie Rich shepherded me for a whole year. The first year I was on this podcast to do a pitch, right? And it got to Dan DiDio and he said, I don't like it. Whole year of my life gone away because one gatekeeper decided, I don't want this. So why do I have loyalty to them? I'll do it myself. Fuck the companies. Fuck Marvel. Marvel can blow it out their ass, man. Do your own thing. And that's the thing is, if these companies are so replaceable to them that a robot can do your job, why are you loyal to them? Do your own book.
I was actually going to say, to your point, JD, is that the comic book industries now are essentially AIs, right? They're spitting out the same storylines over and over again. Like, when's the last thing they did anything new and creative? They're afraid to, because if they introduce new characters and they don't take off, they lose money. What?
Comics are IP farms. Like
Yeah.
corporate comics are IP farms. All the best stuff in comics is what's being done on the indie level. That's
Right.
where the best stuff's coming from. But it's not what sells.
Like
It never
Damage Inc.
has been what sells. Like Damage Inc. Damage Inc.'s good shit, man. Or like my buddy Rich Dewitt does. Rich is starting to get stuff now with Dark Horse and all this stuff and Image. Like he does his own thing. Like that's how you build an audience, is you do your own thing. Right. And if you're good enough to be, and it used to be, if you're good enough for Marvel DC, then you can help grow your following even more. But if they decide that they can just knock it out, with some AI, okay, what's that tell you? Like as a writer tells me they have no value in me. I have to go do my own thing. It's the exact same. I see no difference between them hiring an AI and them passing on my pitch 6 years ago. They don't want me.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, right? It's like Rich, a good friend of ours, all of his original creative content are with the smaller publishers who are letting him do that. He gets a job with Marvel. He's got to write Spider-Man. He's got to write Batman. And he might enjoy writing that for a little bit, but he really wants to do his stuff.
Well, I'm not going to speak for Rich. I'm not going to speak for my buddy.
No, I'm just mean from a creative standpoint. I don't mean Rich specifically, but
there's people.
He's written some of the best comics in the world, working for independent companies or smaller companies, IDW, that lets him write the books he wants to write.
Correct. And that's where you're going to have that. Like the core, and this is the reality people don't want to say, is they're afraid of the big companies trying to overtake them. Well, guess what? They're doing it anyway. 8-Bit Races, Marvel and DC take amazing indie writers and artists and throw them into the corporate blender, and they're never the same after. Dude, I agree with a lot of what you had to say right there. I agree with, and it has been that way for quite some time. Like you have to fit in their confines, and it's what it is. There's people that want to do that. There's a long time that's what I wanted to do. I dreamed of writing Spider-Man, and that little experience that I had taught me I don't want to do this. So if it's now again, if it bothers you that some dude is passing off AI art as his own and selling it on Artist Alley, I mean, okay, I get that. I get why that would piss you off, but at the same time, now, I don't know, man.
It's a situation like this contest, though, and it shows that even Image is crap in the sense of, or at least Todd's division of Image is crap.
It's Todd McFarlane. Mm-hmm. This is Todd. This is what he's always been.
I used to like him.
I like Todd too, but Todd has been this guy since 1992.
Yeah, I know.
Think about the whole thing he had with Grant Morrison and those guys. The whole Angela storyline, Neil Gaiman. Excuse me. The thing with that's Todd. Todd. Like it did not take Todd long to become what he hated. It happened over a weekend. Like it did immediately. James Burton, JD, by the way, God, I want your wrestling thriller announced. Message me. I will send you. I'm doing beta readers right now, so just shoot me a message, and I'll send you the book funnel link because I'm trying to get people reading it right now. I'm very proud of this book. Right. And that's what I got to do. This is what I got to do. I got to hustle. I got to tell people, hey, read my book. Hey, Image is not what I want it to be. No, it's not. Nothing is what you want it to be. Once it's a company, once it's not yours, it's never what you want it to be. It's like, I got to hustle. I got to get people to read my stuff, And if they don't like it, okay, man, I got to accept that. And it's hard.
JD, I have a question for you.
Oh, I love questions for me.
Okay. So do you think it would be fair that they should pass laws that say you have to label whether a work was generated by AI or it's a real author?
No, I think it's fine. Yeah, I think it's a great idea because they're doing. Amazon's asking that right now too with all their stuff.
I think
it's fine.
And I don't think that's out of the question, right? Like that's a truth and labeling law, right? It's the same kind of idea, right? They've got to tell you what's in the stuff you're eating. I think they should tell you what's in the art you're consuming.
I don't disagree.
Well, there's also the problem of the fact that anything generated with AI. At this point is not copyrightable because the United States Copyright Office, there was a lawsuit, and they have ruled that prompts that are used to generate,
so here you go.
Those are not copyrightable, and ergo the transitive property, the work is not copyrightable.
Correct. And that's the thing. So here you go. Now there's going to be a Spawn comic that's going to have this cover on it. But that cover is not copyrightable, so anyone can now use that image for whatever they want.
You live by the sword, you die by the sword.
Move. Yep.
Yeah. See now there's a self limiter right there for the because Marvel and DC they don't want somebody to take their covers and use them however they want. They want to own that stuff, but they can't
Okay,
Oh,
not yet anyway.
Hold on,
yeah,
hold
I
on.
can tell you about Marvel and DC and how they feel about their covers.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. They're using this AI generated stuff. The people who are selling it are the ones who own the trademarks. So like you cannot sell even AI stuff that has that trademark because it's your you know what I'm saying? Like it's still there. There's still trademark law because they're using their trademark. Like the AI used the trademark of the person who's selling it.
Right.
Like,
You're right. But
Marvel
so you
can't
could
sell a Spawn cover.
So you could take that image and change the character in it, but the same pose and everything else.
Oh my god, a swipe? What's that like? You just talk about a swipe. Greg Land made a career of tracing porn faces.
You're right.
Am I wrong?
No,
like
you're not.
we're acting like this has never happened before. We're acting like Rich Buckler didn't do this stuff and steal and like swipe art. Like, but it happened. It's just new ways of doing things. The game is the same.
Yeah. Didn't even oh my god. What's his name? He just passed away not that long ago. Batman, he did a very famous Return of the Joker. Neil Adams. He did a lot of tracing stuff too. So
because he was one of the best like commercial graphic artists that ever lived. Like, beyond his comic work, like the man was a massive player on Madison Avenue.
But you're right. Like this idea has goes back to even the greats.
I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think tracing is necessarily a bad thing. I mean, that's art. It's like if I have to like. I love talking about Dadaism, right? Because Dadaism was the wave of anti-art that was influenced by the end of World War I, where people were like the Great Depression like starts before like the economies get depressed. Like there's a general malaise that existed over the world in the 1920s, right? So you had this wave of anti-art where people like putting up urinals and like going, "This is art," and everyone anti-art. So I mean, like if that in my mind, if a screwdriver. If an artist said this is a piece of art, if that can be art, why can't a prompt?
Andy Warhol did a picture of a Campbell soup can.
He painted it. I mean, like the argument is, well, he actually painted the Campbell soup can. Like,
right.
I mean, but I mean, like that's the idea of anti-art, and there have been a lot of anti-art movements, right? Yeah. So why, if one piece of anti-art is art, why isn't another piece of anti-art? That's why I say, like, who are we to say what is art and what isn't? Art is in the eye of the beholder, isn't it? Like. You can say that's shit. And I ain't gonna hold you against. I can hold that against you. You can have your opinion, but like John said, we're out. Like it's already over. Like you can't put the toothpaste back in the genie.
No, and we can't. But
nice.
Thank you.
I've had toothpaste.
No AI's gonna screw up a idiom like that.
No.
Yeah.
Very true.
Art,
James.
Oh, go ahead.
James Burton said, I hate the term AI artist because it infers skill. Actually,
he calls them AI users.
Yeah, well, anything created by generative AI, that is actually its skill. The problem is that it's not a skill of art. Actually, it's a skill of manipulation. Like you have to be able to put together a prompt in a proper way. You have to kind of know how the system works. It's more of a technical skill. It doesn't really have much to do with art itself.
John, you talk about manipulation. What do we call people who manipulate people for a living?
Counterfeiters.
We call them con artists.
Yeah.
James, I give you permission to use JD's mixed metaphor in your next issue of Damage Inc.
I'm prompting a toothpaste genie. I want you to post that, please. To post a toothpaste genie specifically for the show, and I want to see it. Like I'm just saying. I mean, like again, I did not expect when this whole thing started to be the guy who was defending. I had an incident in class this year. I had a girl she calls herself a digital artist. She's pretty talented. We did a little because Photoshop this year they introduced generative arts. We did it at a unit. Like, hey, we're just playing around with some, which is one thing to do in class when they play with some generative field, like write some prompts, see what you come up with. And they're always different, which is kind of cool. Like one computer is different than the other. Like she refused to do the assignment. She's like, I refuse to do this. I'm a digital artist. This is stealing art. Da, 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 da. And I said, cool. I'm glad you have your morals that you're standing by. You're going to get a 0 on the project.
Yeah. No, I
understand.
Don't disagree with that.
Yeah. I understand where you're coming from, JD, but there is still one thing I disagree with, and that's That's the sheer scale of the amount of this generate stuff that's going to go out there that is going to get in the way of discovering
that's fine, and I'm okay.
Authors.
I'm okay with that. The only way an independent artist gets discovered is through their own work. And if I'm playing on Amazon, if my plan is to play with Amazon's advertising algorithm and to play with Facebook's advertising algorithm, I am fighting a fight that I probably can't win anyway.
Right, but statistically speaking, even somebody whose book without all of this interference would get recognized and they would blow up, might not get recognized because there are a million other works that are all of almost this, just the little changes of the same thing.
Edgar Allan Poe didn't get recognized in his lifetime either.
Like, well, I know, but
that's the battle. That's the battle of the artist, man. It's like, what can you do to get yourself recognized? And the answer is, you could be the most talented artist in the world, and ain't nobody gonna give a shit about what you do.
Well, all right. Speaking as a technologist, my hope is that they section this stuff off like in Amazon and Barnes and Noble, where they say, here's the stuff that's generated, and here are the human authors.
Yeah, but you got here's the thing though. You got to prove it though. Like all I got to do is check.
I know that's going to be.
Is this AI generated? Nope. And then it's on them to prove it. And then I'm going to get my Amazon account deleted, and then I'll just create a new one with a brand new email address, new bank account.
And that is the bigger problem. And the other problem is they've already proven that all these supposed AI generate detectors don't work.
Right, it's bullshit.
Like even the AIs can't detect their own work. That's the problem, Well,
it's like they're saying in colleges that for as much as it sucks in the independent art community, and I get it. No one likes the idea of having their job taken away or having their stuff being or saying like a computer can do your job better than you. I get that. The real problem is in academia, where ChatGPT is writing people's term papers for them, and they don't know how to combat that right now. That's a real problem in college circles.
No, like I said, they were giving teachers these systems to say, oh, this will detect whether or not it was AI or not, and they've found that it's like, it's 50-50 whether it figures something out or not. It's like it's not statistically significant, the number of hits that they get. Like sometimes it detects a real paper as AI and an AI thing as a real paper. It doesn't work at all. So.
Great energy tonight, gentlemen. By the way, yeah, I've been rough. I've been off from this. I got a little bit of in me.
Well, yeah,
Drew
but
says, what if these other work? What about the works who become white noise? Excise books will be recognized as garbage books, and people will move on. Who cares if they have a million books? And I get that. That's the artist argument. Is if it sucks, who cares? There's a lot of shitty books that get put out. Like there's people. I have been told that I am the problem with publishing, me, because I am an independent publisher. I write my own books. They're self-published. I've been called human garbage because I didn't go through the process of getting an agent, finding a publisher. There's people that hate people on that side because you're gay. I had a lady in a Facebook group telling me I was gaming the system, and I'm like, lady, I'm trying to make $1,000 on a goddamn Kickstarter. More good. Like I've said before, I read a ton of urban fantasy, and since self-publishing came out, I found more good authors that would never have you'd never get past that huge ramparted wall of, we're Random House, and you have to write something that we like before we publish it. Like, but on the other hand, you get somebody like, I think his name is John Conroe, who writes the absolute worst shit you've ever seen for urban fantasy, like just horrible crap. And he got published, and here's the wacky thing: the economies of scale. There are so many people that read books that even he can make a living off of horrible books. John, I read a book recently, and I'm not going to name any titles. I'm not going to name any.
I will. John Conroe sucks.
I will read. I read a book. It's personal. I read a book recently that I thought was absolute utter horseshit. I could not believe how bad this book was. I hated every second of it, and it was a New York Times bestseller. And I'm like, how do people read this crap? How can you read this crap?
The New York Times bestseller has been gamed forever.
Like, but that's the thing.
You get political parties that will buy a couple of thousand books to get their book.
This isn't that book. This isn't that book. It was a fiction book that I'm like, this is one of the worst things I've ever read. I hate Dan Brown. I think Dan Brown is a terrible writer. He's got 2 movies and a whole shit ton of fucking books to his credit that I don't got. So what do I know?
I need to correct John too. It's not just political books. Publishers do that too. A book they want to succeed, they will buy enough copies to get it on the New York Times bestseller.
That happened a few years ago. Remember this girl put out, I say girl because it was a woman, put out a book, urban fantasy book, and she nobody heard of it, and they had a thing at Comic-Con where they had like a panel, and nobody went to the panel, but it was a New York Times bestseller, and this is where like the normies discovered that practice of like the publisher buying a bunch of their own books. So they can say New York Times bestseller. I'm an Amazon bestseller, and I hit it because I did a sale. I did a sale on my books, and I advertised it, and they advertised it, and we sold a whole bunch of books. And I got that tag, Amazon best-selling author. Like, did that change what I am? No. Did everybody who bought my book love it based on their reviews? No.
That's if you go through Amazon when they're in control of the advertisements, sometimes they'll put a sale on your book without telling you. Like they'll say, "Here's your free book for the day." Like I've gotten a couple of books like that. And
you can't just do it without telling you. You have to be in the loop on that. Like just
I mean, it's part of the Kindle agreement when you're self-publishing. I think.
Correct, but I mean, you have to agree to that. Like you have to have a KDP book, or they're going to tell you, "Hey, we're going to do this." Like they let you in the loop on those kind of things. They just don't randomly sell your books without.
Right. But again, back to my point. It's like, okay, you get bad authors, you get good authors from self-publishing. That's fine. But on the one side, you get good authors that never made it past all these hurdles that you have to go through. On the bad side, for every one of those authors, good authors, you get like 10 bad authors. The problem with AI is for every one good author you can find, there's going to be 500,000 bad authors.
Buyer beware.
And that's a problem on every level. Amazon has to figure out how to deal with that.
And they're trying to figure it out right now. They're trying to figure it out. But I'm saying here's the problem: is
they've restricted the number of books you can post per day.
Good. But that's been a problem for a long time. Is these there's a lot of guys who make money with low content books, right? Who are writing.
Right. But they still had to write them. Now you can now you get these AI guys who can post like 50 books a day.
Right. And if I wanted to be, and again, this is like what I've noticed in the self-publishing world is this phrase "right to market," and it's one of my least favorite phrases in publishing. It's this concept that if you want to make a lot of money, you have to find a trend that you really like, and you don't write what you want. You write what "quote unquote" the audience writes. And there's people that have shamed you, that will shame you for trying to write what you want to write instead of that.
That's the erotic urban fantasy, like the werewolf vampire stuff. There's a lot.
There's a market for it, and there's people that will encourage you to write to. And there's a book, Write to Market. Nothing wrong with Chris Fox. He's a great idea, and it's a great way to make money. If that is your concern, is to make money, there's always going to be that. That is not me. I want to write for artistic expression because this is a story I want to tell. The downside of that is I ain't going to be a millionaire. Okay, I can sleep at night not being a millionaire. I have to sell every book on me. And that is the life that I have chosen. And I'm okay with it. If AI beats me to the punch, they weren't going to buy my book anyway.
That's what bothers me, though, because you're a human being. And you, AI, I'd rather see the money go to you than to some AI guy who's just.
But money will go to me. And again, like the economy moves, the economy circles. Like I don't believe that it's like the finite. There's a finite. Like I always joke, my dog thinks there's a finite amount of love in the world, and if he's not getting all the attention at the moment, then that's taking away from his love. Not realizing that someone is going to buy my book, and I'm fine with it. If you want to buy the book that X9 wrote over mine, then I failed.
Yeah, and I think
it is what it is.
I think when we start talking about the higher echelon of like wanting to be the next Stephen King or the next, I'm trying to think of like a artist who was really popular in their lifetime.
Todd McFarlane,
Jim Lee, but like there is the other side of the coin are the people like what JD's saying. I mean, one of the best celebrities I've ever met and hung out with was Michael Hogan, who played Colonel Ty on Battlestar Galactica. And before he was cast as that, he acted in plays and was a stage actor and had done a couple things on Canadian TV here and there, and he had no desire to be a star, but he landed this role in Battlestar Galactica, and all of a sudden he did the show, and then all of a sudden he got invited to a con, and he was like, oh my goodness, he was shocked by like all these people coming up to him and telling him how great he was, and they loved the show and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, he's like, I just want to be an actor. Like, I just want to express myself through acting and do plays and enjoy myself. I have no desire to be the next, Tom Cruise or anything like that. Like, and he's like, there's thousands or millions of actors out there every day who are just happy to act.
I interviewed Bryan Cranston a few years ago for he was at Chicago Ideas Week, and they had a big, nice conversation with him. Great guy, super cool. He had this quote that like stuck with me for very funny. Very quote that stuck with me. He's like, "My reward is creation. That's the reward that I get, is I get to create, because I have zero control over what happens after that. I can't control what you think about it. I can't control what the critics think about it. I can't control how much money it's going to make. I can't control if we get season 2 of a TV show. All I can do is create, and that's the reward for me. Is I feel like if I did a good job, I'm okay with that, and whatever happens is out of my control. And I've really had time applying that, because we live in such a capitalist-driven society where you got Stephen King, you're a failure you're a failure. And like I've taken me to go, you know what? I got another job. I don't have to rely on writing. Writing can just be for me now. Like I can just I don't feel shame in writing a book about a pro wrestler that goes to Japan and gets sucked into the Yakuza. That is a book that only I could write, and maybe I want to read. But that's okay.
How many times have we heard, especially in our circles, like an actor who was in something that was real big and then isn't in anything real big for a while? They're like, oh, whatever happened to them? But like they're doing Broadway, or they're doing smaller things on a off network, or they're voice acting, or they're behind the camera producing or directing now. But
it's always went to the indie market, yeah.
But because we're not seeing them in big blockbusters, it's like, oh, their career's over. Like, no, it's not. It just shifted, and they're still making money and they're still happy creating. They're just not in big blockbuster movies.
So it's like that's just what it comes down to: is what do you want? Do you want to be rich, or do you want to be an artist? Very rarely is Stephen, and I use Stephen King because he's the best example of it. That's the most prolific and successful author of the 20th and 21st centuries, who does whatever the hell he wants and makes a lot of money. It's just him. And Patterson. James Patterson does that too. But like, there's very few of people that can be that guy. And not Yakuza. Yeah, it's a good book. I'm looking forward to it. I'm not that guy. I'm not that lucky. And I've accepted it. Okay. I'm not that good. Well, I'm pretty good, though. You should read my book.
If you
realize I cost myself a bunch of sales.
Bring up the message just before the Yakuza.
The Marvel one.
Yeah, I think I agree with this, and that's what worries me.
Yeah, okay. James says, I'll read this. James says, I was told because I didn't adapt to Marvel house style, I'd never sell a book. AI is the future of the house style. I agree with that, but that's Marvel house style. They want, if you don't draw Marvel house style, you're not going to work with them anyway. So you got to do your own thing. No other choice.
I saw a really interesting thing about Marvel the other day, right? Where Marvel had gotten to this point where when they were trying to turn out all these TV shows and movies real fast over the last few years, and the quality started to decline because they were doing special effects works in the big scenes first before they actually finished the script, right? Because they were putting the cart before the horse because they were trying to turn it out real fast. Yet when James Gunn came back to do Guardians of the Galaxy 3, he's like, no. I'm going to write a script first, then we're going to shoot it, then we're going to add the special effects. And Guardians 3 is one of the best Marvel movies in a long time, right?
Because he keeps the idea. Yeah, that's the idea. We try to automate everything, and when you automate things, it takes the soul out of it, right? And Kassan's got an interesting comment I'm going to pull up right now. Sorry, Dave, we did it at the same time.
With that!
Did it again. My bad, I got to stop. Kassan says James Patterson is pre-AI. He gives ghostwriters / partners the outline for them to work from, then he reviews it. So, it's funny you say that, because I did a conference with J.D. Barker a couple years ago. He wrote one of my favorite horror books of the last 20 years, Dracul, and I loved it. It was this Dracula prequel written from Bram Stoker's point of view. God, I love that book. Everyone should read that if you like horror. Read Dracul, awesome book. So he wrote a couple books with Patterson, and he said, this is his words to me, was he's like, it's not like that. He goes, I did the lion's share of the work, but he did not. And he goes, he called it the myth behind Patterson, was he said, like, I never got an outline from him. He called me, and together we put the outline together, and he goes, and I wrote, and I would give stuff to him, and he would make tweaks to it. And he said it was not, and he goes, but he does so many of them that he can write his own books, and then he can keep writing other people's books with them too. Because he just has so many ideas, and his big thing is, I don't have time to do them all myself. Right. So I think that, and I don't love Patterson, to be honest with you, but I think that, I think he does get kind of a bad rap sometimes. And that's just, might be anecdotal evidence, but it's from the one person I know who actually has worked with him a couple times.
Yeah.
Like I don't have much more I can say on this topic, but like my big worry is that, all right, people like you, JD, say you get a new writer, he writes a book, he puts it out, right? These days, or before AI, he put it out. Yeah, maybe you have to deal with other copycats or whatever, but he puts it out. He's got a fair chance of getting noticed and making a certain amount of money. Nowadays, with AI just pumping out unbelievable amounts of shit, that writer may never, like, you're definitely going to make less than you would have originally. And that guy may not have a second job, like, or may have to get a second job that precludes him from being able to write a second book. Like we may lose writers because of this, because they're being pushed out of the market. They're being carpet bombed out of the market.
I disagree. I think that's such a pessimistic view of what a writer is.
I know, but I'm a human being, and I know human beings, and I'm very pessimistic about human beings.
Let me say this.
Okay.
A writer will write because they have to write. That's the thing about a writer, and that's been my big problem over the last year, is I have focused on being really good at this new career because it's the best thing for my family, and it's been hurting me creatively. Because, like I said, if I'm not creating something, I'm still creating something, and it's not been good. So a writer has to do these things, right? And you say, like, if it's important to them, they're going to make time to write. J.D. Salinger wrote one book. That's all he had. That's all he wanted to do. Like, he went out, he stepped up to the plate, knocked it out with Catcher in the Rye, and he was done. Right? They said he wrote a bunch of other stuff but never put it out because he didn't want to. Like, that's his prerogative, right? And and I'll say, what is that writer? Your Phantom writer you're talking. What is he doing to make people read his stuff? I'm gonna annoy the shit out of people on social media when my Kickstarter comes up. I'm gonna do the best I can to put the words out. Am I gonna sell as many books as I probably think I should? No. Am I gonna fall short of my own expectations for myself? Yes. Well, because I'm a human being. But it's my work. It's my effort. It's like, if it's not my effort to do it, and I can't sit and say, well, AI crippled me. Fuck you. You didn't do your fucking job to get yourself out there. But you didn't advocate enough for yourself. And I'm talking to me. I'm talking to me right now.
I get it. But it's the difference between standing in a bunch of 10 people and yelling about your work and trying to promote your work, and standing in the middle of Times Square on New Year's Eve.
Never going to sell
about your work.
Never going to sell in Times Square. Never going to sell a book like that anyway.
No, but what I'm saying is the crowd that you have to compete against is going to be
John, are you familiar with the concept of 100 true fans?
Of what?
Are you familiar with the concept of 100 true fans? This is Tyler James. He taught me this when I was taking Comics Tribe stuff.
No, I don't.
The concept of 100 true fans is every creator's goal needs to be to find 100 people that love their work and are willing to spend $100 a year on them. And you make six figures and you live a comfortable life. And that's all you can ask for.
So what you're saying is I should sell my bathwater is what you're saying.
Fuck, man. Say what you want about Belle, what's her name, but she sold a lot of them. She found her 100 true fans and did really well. Like, she worked her ass off on social media by being hot and being kind of charismatic to do her thing, and that's good for her. However, I'm frozen again. Here's the thing: I will not sell unless I'm out there doing it, and I can't sit there and say, "Well, I put my book out," because again, I did that. I put a book out there. I let it before this AI stuff, and you know what happened? Nobody bought it. If your idea is to just put something out there and expect the world to come to you, you're screwed. I read a book recently called The Celestine Prophecy. It's okay. Wasn't my thing. Friend of mine said, you should read this. I said, okay, I read it. And what I respected from it was I learned the story. And so this dude was selling books out of the trunk of his car. And then he got picked up by a publisher. This is in the 90s. And then he made a lot of money. I didn't love the book. I thought it was pretty decent. It was all right. But like, that guy sold his ass. That guy worked his ass off. That guy worked his ass off to do his thing. How can I say a bad thing about a guy who did that and was a success, who believed so much in what he was going to do that he was willing to sell his book out of a car in an era where self-publishing was shunned big time. Now it's become more acceptable, but back in the 90s to do that, I got nothing but respect for that dude.
Yeah, I mean, I also like James's point here.
Yeah,
real creators do not feel that they have a choice. It's like filling a hole that opened up in your chest.
James, 100% right, man. I feel that so much right now.
I need to share something here. So here's a little piece of art by an unknown artist. Me, I did that. So my girlfriend's one son goes to the art institute, and one of the art classes is in. They do it's called Free Art Friday, and they get these tiny canvases, and they have to paint 5 a week and put them out, and then everyone throughout the campus, and anyone who wants it is free to take it, and you put on the back who created it and a little story behind it or whatever. And so he got us to help him out because he was out the week before, so he didn't do it. He was behind, and you're allowed to have people help you. So, like, I created this, and is it the best piece of art ever? No. But did I feel satisfied when I was done with it? Yes. Like, I created something, and it looked, to me, it was like really great. And like, that's it. I don't care if anyone else ever sees it, you know, like it filled that hole at that moment when I created it. So
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it big time. Like sometimes, like, and again, I've had to kind of struggle with this too, because I've done all the writing courses. I tried to learn. Like, I don't have the sensibilities. Wow, Drew's comment is covering my face, and I'm far too shallow to accept that.
All right, fine. We'll let you finish.
Thank you. I appreciate it. That hurt me. Like, I just have to accept the fact that I'm never going to be a career author, and that's okay. Now I'm free to do the stuff I want to do.
Yeah.
Right. And
instead of chasing
windmills and
chasing windmills, you're doing it for yourself.
Right. And that's okay. Whatever best piece of art ever. Hey, Mark Ellis. Like, that's okay. That's okay. And I'm okay with that. And like, if is my kid going to go to college based on my writing? Nope.
All right,
that's okay.
Should we read Drew's comment now?
Yes, please. I'll shut the fuck up. John's Times Square analogy. Those AI writers aren't going to push their stuff because it doesn't stand up. It's just noise. Anyone who's going to chase somebody pushing their work over someone with quality and probably low reviews, people will buy it and it won't become a hit. But yeah, I get what you're saying, Drew. But John's idea is that people are so stupid they're just going to buy whatever they see.
It's not stupid.
But
wait. I have a list of like 30 urban fantasy authors that I follow. I found that list by going through Amazon or just walking through like Barnes & Noble and picking books out. It wasn't because the author came directly up to me, took the book and hit me over the head and said, "This is great." No, it was because I just found it on my own. There's only so many people you can contact directly, JD. But otherwise, you're good. It's going to be up to somebody going through Amazon and getting it recommended to them by the algorithm, which you don't have any control over.
I don't have any control over that. I don't have any control over it
just
anyway.
picking it up as they're going through urban fantasy doing searches.
That's the thing. I don't have control over it anyway, and Barnes & Noble ain't going to put my book there because I'm an independent author. So what am I going to do?
Right.
Take care of myself.
We don't have control over the algorithm recommending our show to people on YouTube. So, and here's something too, and I think this might be a point that you might be missing, John. The AI created art. There is the person who put a prompt in and created an AI book. They didn't create that. They put a prompt in and it wrote something.
Yes.
they don't have a passion behind that other than a profit. So they can't sell the book because they're not selling themselves. They're selling something else.
It doesn't matter. But that only
does matter. It
No,
does matter because people buy the artist, not
It doesn't
the art.
because of economies of scale. If the market is flooded with other stuff, that means finding your stuff that you feel great about, that you are pushing, is like finding a needle in a haystack.
You're also now discontinuing. You're discounting your own point, because if there's 1,000 people flooding 1,000 books a day on the Amazon, and the algorithm's going to put those people up, well, then guess what? They're not going to make money either, because they're going to get flooded out in a sea of noise.
Right, but the problem is that
the artist that
doesn't matter, because they can pump out another 1,000 every day, whereas you put a whole year of work into your book and finding an artist and all this
the artist that created it is going to be passionate and selling it to actual people, and actual people are going to read it, and actual people are going to be like, hey, I like this guy and I like what he wrote, and they're going to tell their friends, buy this book. An AI can't do that.
I get that, but there's also an aspect of sales that comes from people stumbling across your stuff, and that is not going to happen.
It doesn't happen
as much.
It doesn't happen.
The market
like
is flooded with other stuff.
The first thing they tell you when you take all these courses is that you cannot expect to become successful by people stumbling onto you. You can, like, economies of scale are a thing. Last night my brother was in town. It was great to see him. We went to a place called Small Chevelle in the west side of the West Loop in Chicago. Great burger, man. Fantastic. This was like one of the best burgers I had out ever. It was really, really good. Gluten-free bun that was really soft and not like really did, like, sometimes gluten-free bread like disintegrates when you chew it. No, this was great. And it was right next to McDonald's. McDonald's was packed. This place was packed. Everyone in that restaurant was there for a reason. McDonald's is McDonald's. You cannot compete with McDonald's. I cannot compete with Stephen King. I cannot compete with the AI algorithm. All I can do is fight for me. Yeah. Is Small Chevelle ever going to make the kind of money McDonald's makes? No, they're not trying. They're in a different business.
Yeah. I agree.
That's all I can do. I can't. If I rely on someone discovering me, I'm fucked. I'm not that talented. I'm sorry.
And
I screwed myself on that. Maybe I just cost myself some book sales. But I mean, like, I don't believe that I'm so great, I'm so wonderful that someone will just happen to stumble upon my work and it will change their life. I can't rely on that, man. I can't.
Yeah. Oh, Drew's going to bed.
It's like 8:00 in Arizona, man. What are you doing going to bed? I know where you live, Drew.
Maybe he's got a hot date. You don't know.
He's married with kids. He's in my boat.
Well, maybe the kids went to bed and he's got a hot date, if you know what I mean.
Lovely wife. I like Drew.
Yes.
Great.
Maybe they're working on the next kid. Give him a break.
That's true. So, again, I get where John's coming from. He is concerned for the future of the business. And I'm just saying, like, I've been brought up to say I cannot worry about that. Going to bed, it's only 7. Oh, you guys are on Pacific time out there? I thought you were on Mountain time in Arizona. My mistake. That's even worse. You're going to bed at 7.
He's trying to get the kids to go to bed.
I get that. Might as well not.
So him and his wife can, have a little bounce wow time.
Hey, Dave. Not all of us want to get sore throats. So, like, I get it, John. Like, for if the goal was to compete there, sure. Arizona doesn't do daylight savings. I didn't know that. Thanks for educating me, Kazan. I appreciate that.
They're rebels.
They're also the last state to approve Martin Luther King Jr. Day. So, it's true. Like, I don't know. I get where you're coming from. Like, your heart is in the right place. I'm just saying, like, if you're an author and your whole business model is to rely on being discovered, you're boned.
I think one of the things that would settle a lot of this, and I'm being completely sincere. It's going to sound stupid, but I'm being completely sincere. Is that this term AI art has crept up over the last couple of years and is everywhere. Yep. But we really should be call it AI generated image or AI image. We shouldn't call it AI art, because art has a connotation to it that means a person created it.
I disagree. Calling it AI is what differentiates it. And I said, if a urinal on a wall can be considered art, because some artist said this is art, I'll say the thing I was playing with in Midjourney today. I don't even consider it art myself because I think that's pretentious. But I mean, like, whatever. I think labels are silly to begin with.
Well, the issue there is an artist calls it art, but a gallery validates them so they can sell it for thousands of dollars.
That's what I'm saying, though. Is like that's all we want is validation. Well, the second someone validates a piece of AI art, it's art.
Yeah.
Like when we set them, like when the market decides what the monetary value of something is, it changes. I mean, like, and again, you can't control that. So I mean, like you sit there and say it. It's like I don't think that I have the authority to say this is art, that is not.
Yeah.
This is good, this is bad. All I can tell you is how it makes me feel.
But real quick, another point I wanted to make, as hopefully we're wrapping this up soon. John kind of alluded to this earlier about everything looks like Liefeld because of feet or whatever. But here's
fingers for AI.
Fingers, right? And arm lengths. Like, you ever look at a piece of AR, a picture of a person that's generated by AI, and like their arm lengths are off for some reason. They're either too long or too short or whatever.
It's not that bad anymore, guys. There's some that.
But here's the thing. But you know why?
Yeah.
But the real reason that behind that is, and it still does it every once in a while, is because all they did was they created a learning algorithm and they fed it images of people over and over again and labeled it just pretty person, Batman, blonde woman, Superman, whatever, right?
And accidentally fed it a bunch of pictures of hot dogs too.
But they never told the AI, by the way, a human being, their arm length is usually this percentage long compared to their body, and they have usually have 5 fingers on each hand, and 5. Like, they didn't give them the parameters. They wanted it to learn
that's because
itself.
The way the technology works, that kind of information is relatable to the information you're feeding it, which is just images. So it's figuring out from the images what standard proportions are. The problem is that they're scraping sites like DeviantArt, where maybe they're doing some proportions that aren't real, you know? Like if all you fed it
were nose hairs.
If all you fed one of these generative algorithms, if all you fed it was a bunch of pictures of the 6-fingered man from Princess Bride, it would pump out pictures of people, and they would all have 6 fingers.
Putting that up to hot like
Anyway.
No, and
yeah, you're right, Kazan.
It's not AI. You're right.
And here's the thing too, right? Like,
you can tell by how we're all still existing.
Todd McFarlane, speaking of Captain,
talking a lot about Todd tonight. I didn't expect that.
Yeah, well, he sparked this.
Toddy McSpidey.
He talked about this a lot. He talked about this a lot. That one of the things you could do when you're drawing Spider-Man, you cheat. When you're drawing him in a weird pose, you don't worry so much about the anatomy. You do to a point, but you might make his arm a little longer to exaggerate the pose, or his leg a little shorter, or whatever, right?
Impressionism.
Yes, right. So yeah, exactly. Like, so I'm kind of curious, like, because I know a lot of artists do that with Spider-Man. So if you said draw Spider-Man standing, he look like a monkey with really long arms or something.
Did you look at Todd's art? A lot of time Todd's Spider-Man art did look like that. Like,
yeah, exactly.
That's kind of signature though. Is he's the one that put Spidey in all the weird poses. That has been a signature of since Todd McFarlane.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. All right. Have we beaten this to death enough?
Bring her home.
Yeah, I think we're done.
All right. Well, you know what? We got to do it. You know, contract obligations. We got to run another ad.
You have a contract? Oh.
So we'll take a quick commercial break and we'll be right back.
This is so wizard anime.
Broadcasting very fast and very dangerous from the planet Malistan. You are listening to So Wizard, You thinking people gonna die?
The only podcast to make the Kessel Run in under 12 parsecs.
No one to stop us this time.
I am your host, Joey DiCarlo, and with me, my co-hosts, the queen of all nerds, Aubrey Litchfield, and the expert, Mr. Marquis, Marcellus Reagan. You are listening to So Wizard Podcast, where three friends review movies, TV, and sometimes more, podcasting weekly on the Geek World All-Stars Podcast Network. Marcellus Reagan's, please tell the listeners where they can find more So Wizard Podcasts.
Everybody, you can head on over to SoWizardPodcast.com, and there you're going to find a brand new episode every week. Find So Wizard on all podcasting streaming platforms, such as iTunes, Spotify, Good Pods, and pretty much wherever you can find a podcast. Check out our YouTube page, where new content is being uploaded regularly. We also have a Patreon page. For as little as $1 a month, you can receive exclusive bonus content while you're supporting the show.
No, I didn't. First of all, a podcast takes a lot of work, okay? You have to organize the guests, you have to do a Google Calendar, and then you build a following. It takes a long time, and I've been working on it for a while.
We don't have a Google Calendar.
I do.
Buying for the show.
Marcellus says, speaking of AI looking ridiculous, yes, because you don't look anything like that, Marcellus. And it's funny. I said this last week. I noticed when Randy was here, I had noticed like that's not even Joey's face in the picture of Joey, and like that he took again. I keep saying this. I was with him when he took that picture, and it's weird that it's like it's not his face. All right, I know we don't want to we can save most of the news for next week, but I am curious.
Slow news week, really.
But I am curious that I really want to know what you guys thought of the trailer for the new Crow movie. Did you not see it? Oh.
So I got a confession. I got a buddy who got to see a sneak preview of the new Crow movie. Who's part of the test audience.
Ooh.
He said it was ass cheeks.
It
looks like ass
I'm not
cheeks.
surprised.
Yeah. So here's my
Looks like
official.
they changed.
Oh yeah,
Good.
it does. No, here's my official stance on this trailer. It's not for me. Perhaps this will appeal to the Gen Z folks, but it's not for JD. And here's where that's my official stance on it. My personal stance is this looks like fucking shit, and I have no interest in it. None.
It looks like they changed a lot of the story too. Like the beginning of the trailer, it looks like they meet in jail. Like what the hell was that?
I don't know. You can't judge a story based on the trailer, but
yeah,
I don't know.
How can they make a movie that looks worse than the original? I mean, what am I saying? Yeah, I know.
James says, "No, none of us talking about the real victims. The porn industry is screwed." Well, the porn industry is screwed, and that's what makes it the porn industry. So I couldn't help it.
I was trying to think of a joke. I'm glad you found it.
Okay, do not underestimate the porn industry. The porn industry
survives.
Are the drivers of most of the technology for the
a
internet
lot
that
of
we
modern
use today.
technology. Oh yeah,
And all video streaming is because they developed it. All the image technologies they developed it. All the compression algorithms, everything. The porn industry single-handedly drives most of the technology for the internet, just like a lot of the technology that we have for pens and Velcro and all this stuff was driven by NASA going to the moon. It's really wacky, but that's the way this works.
Wacky is the right term. Never underestimate dudes who want to look at boobs. And the people who want to give that to you.
And the people who want to make money off of that, yeah.
I had posted
They
it on
always find a way
my.
to make money.
I had posted the trailer. Let's get back to the topic real quick. I had posted the trailer.
I'd
on my
rather talk
Facebook
about
page.
porn, to be quite frank.
And somebody had said, and I think somebody said on my timeline, and I think it was James, but I'm not sure. So James, if it wasn't you, I'm sorry. But they were like, how can it look dirtier and cleaner at the same time? And he's right. There is something weird about that trailer where it's like it looks cleaner than the original movie, but dirtier at the same time. It's like really weird.
I think there's a thing about the Crow film, like that movie, where you had to be a certain space in 1994. Like it really is about the death of grunge music. It really is about a sense of loss. It's like a cultural movement for the 1990s. And maybe this one will have the similar impact for today's kids. I doubt it, but I just know it's not for me. It's not what I feel like the old bar story was. I don't feel like, I don't feel like the 94 version really was either. So I don't know, maybe it'll be its own thing. All I know is it's not what I want to see.
The 90s haven't come back yet. We're still bringing back the 80s. So you have to
bring
wait
back
10
80s.
years.
We've been bringing back the 80s for like 20 years, man.
But like initially, I
80s
was
were good.
on board when I thought maybe they were doing a different Crow story. But as soon as they say Eric, it's like okay, I'm out. Yeah, I'm out.
I don't like. He's got this like Jared Leto Joker aesthetic to him, which I get.
Yeah.
It look like it, but I just can't. I mean, I'm old, man. I'm in my.
Did
40s
they have
now.
to cover him with all tattoos and everything? I mean, I have nothing against that, but like they're just it's like you said, they're going so much into the grunge and the emo. But
I mean, that's the
like,
thing though. Is like the Brandon Lee movie did embrace a lot of that too. Like it's very much grungy music inspired. Not the book, the 90s movie was very much of that era. So I get why they're trying to do this here this way. It's just not for me.
Yeah. It's
they're
not
doing
for
too
any of
far.
us.
It's almost like a parody. It feels like.
Kassan says, any comments in the lead writer / showrunner for X-Men 97 getting canned? I don't know enough about it. I think we should dig into it.
Yeah, we'll dig into that
more.
We'll talk about that next week because there's rumors. I haven't seen any evidence to prove it, but that apparently one of the reasons he was fired is that he was running an OnlyFans page. So
what? Who cares? Oh, whatever.
Because Disney has morals clauses in their contracts.
Disney doesn't have, Disney clauses, yes. Morals? Disney doesn't have fucking morals.
James Burns says this should be looked at as just not Eric Draven. I agree with you, but the problem is it is Eric Draven, so whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So not for me, not for JD. John, any desire to see this new one?
No, hell no.
Yeah.
No.
It's a shame I'm going to make us watch it for the podcast. But
you suck.
Damn it.
There aren't a lot of movies coming out this year. We're going to have to.
You know what movie is coming out before our next show? Ghostbusters.
Oh, I'm going to go take Andy that this weekend.
Is that this weekend?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This coming weekend. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then I know what we're talking about next week.
I'm going to see Saturday.
All right.
Wait. What's Kassan saying here? OnlyFans
isn't the porn sites open content. He wasn't doing porn, just other content. That's fair. It just gets associated with the porn site.
Yes, and then OnlyFans at one point said, "Oh, we're going to eliminate the porn content, the adult content," and it nearly took down the entire site. So they were like, no, you know what? We were wrong. Let's keep the porn up.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, man. Here's the thing. Patreon does the same thing and doesn't have porn. I don't think.
Yeah, exactly. That's what. Yeah, OnlyFans is a porn site. I'm sorry, Kassan. Just because you follow Pretty Kitty 97 on there, and you think you're clean. No, it's porn. All right, let's wrap this one up.
Good idea.
All right. So,
did he get that, JD? Never mind. I got that. Okay, go ahead.
No, you don't. You told me you stopped following me, so I don't know what you're talking about. All right, so let's go around the room and tell me, what did you learn on the podcast this week, or do you have any recommendations? And JD, you can go first.
We had a civil debate. I learned that we can still have civil debates, and we're coming from different sides of things, and it winds up being pretty good. Makes for a pretty good show. I knew that, but this was reinforced today. I will recommend an Audible original book by one of my favorite authors, Joe Hill, in The Pram. It's a story about a husband and wife that moved to Maine, and they just suffered a miscarriage, and he starts pushing around this baby carriage, and the demon baby is right there. So I mean, like, it really deals with the pain and loss of miscarriage from a father's point of view. Something that doesn't get discussed enough is the damage that can do on the male side of things. So really good book. Short read, took about 2 hours to listen to it. Very good. Highly recommend.
Oh, I probably will check it out. My wife had a miscarriage with her first pregnancy after we got married.
Same.
So, yeah. All right, John.
Well, no, I didn't learn much. But I would say my recommendation is going to be go see Ghostbusters Frozen. Was it
Empire?
Frozen Empire, yeah. Because from what the rumblings are saying that this is going to be really, really good.
Good. I hope so.
I learned that I really miss JD because
yeah, I did too.
I don't have to talk as much when he's here.
You're saying I talk a lot, sir? Because I do.
We value your opinion, and I missed you last week because that would have been a great time to hear your.
You were
opinion.
here in spirit because Randy at one point goes, "Well, how do you kill a vampire?" It's the age-old question: how do you kill a vampire? I'm like, yes.
I love it. My friend. I told my friend I was getting therapy, and she goes, "Good, you're emotional." And I was like, "Me? Emotional? Get out of here."
Yes. Yeah. And then, of course, I'm going to recommend go see Frozen Empire, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, because that is what we will be talking about on the podcast next week. Also, I'm going to recommend, I forgot to mention this earlier, please click that subscribe button and click the bell for notifications so you don't miss us when we go live Sunday nights here at 8:30. And yes, I also recommend that you go over to superheroespeak.com where you can find the podcast every week. Links to all our social media at the top of the page. Comic book reviews by our good friend Chris, and you can find old ones by Don. Ooh, God, in the archives. In fact, they just put up a review for Savage Conan, a Sword of Savage Conan #1 that Chris just did. He gave it 10 out of 10.
Wow.
Yeah, and he doesn't just give those out lightly. So this has got to be good. So I'm definitely going to check it out then. All right. And that is it for this week. So on that note, boys and girls, as always, thanks for watching. Don't let your cape be caught in the door. Have a good week.